We're back! It has been probably 2 months almost, maybe a month since I posted last. I just wanted a break. That's basically it. But today you are getting the video that you've all been waiting for. I know I promised I was gonna do this. Better late than never, right? I've decided I'm just gonna post once a week for the next little while. I'm not gonna do daily vlogs like I was doing before, or daily videos rather. I'm not gonna just be reacting to the next step videos. I'm gonna do other stuff as well, but I will be reacting to more season 1 episodes because it's really funny to look back. This intro's taking way longer than it needs to be. New videos coming out every Wednesday on this channel. And now let's get to the good part, the whole reason why you click this video. Reacting to the next step, season 1, episode 1. Enjoy. Before we go into this, I have to say, this was my first acting job. I had never done an acting job other than like a school play, which didn't really count. This was my first acting job ever. And I was terrified. I was basically being myself on camera, but a lot of the script in season 1, 99% of it, was not scripted, meaning the situations were given to us, like, I don't know. Actually, hold on a minute. Look what I found. The first script ever of the next step. Normally you have lines of dialogue, but this is kind of what it looks like. So for any actors out there, like, it's not a very familiar thing. It's all action description. It's not, there's no like dialogue. Kate talks about how she took over the studio when her mom retired about 18 months ago. Kate grew up dancing at the studio herself. It wasn't that long ago that she was just a student here, so she's still finding her way. So it's written in third person perspective, but you are reading this as an actor being like, okay, so this is kind of what I'm saying, but you get to make up the way that you say it. If that makes sense. So like when we watch Miss Kate's talking head for season 1, for this episode, it's gonna be not word for word this, but it's gonna be like pulling all of the facts that you need to know. Talking head, Riley talks about how growing up at the studio, Emily and she used to be called the E-girls because their names ended in the E sound, but now it's a whole click thing. That was what I was given, but I'm pretty sure I say like, all of our names have the E sound at the end, like Riley, Emily, Stephanie, is what I say, I'm pretty sure. Riley talks about how their differences are mostly in the studio, and it's because Riley thinks that Emily has taken this dance captain thing too far. So that is essentially giving me my intention and like the facts of what's been going on, what the drama is, and what points I need to touch. But in terms of what I actually say on like during the talking head, it's all up to me, so that it comes across as really natural and I'm not trying to like remember lines, because doing that to a non-actor is very difficult. And then if we even look at a scene, Studio A, Emily and the other E-girls critique Daniel, Chloe, and West's dance routine, pointing out their strengths and areas they think need improving. They scoff as another dancer misses a landing. Emily whispers to the others, she choked. That was like in quotation here. But actually in that point she probably didn't have to say anything. What would happen is on the day we would like rehearse the scene and like practice what we were gonna say. And then the director would be like, okay, that's great. Maybe could you say this instead of that? And like kind of play with it. So it did feel very documentary style, which is why a lot of people thought we were actually these people, because we were just being ourselves. Things are also different. In any film or TV show, when you read the initial script, from the moment that it's finalized and whatever, to the moment you see it see it aired for the first time, it's very different. A lot of things happen. It goes through a lot of different changes. And so it's not always going to be the product that you read on page. So it's kind of cool to be able to like read this and see what it ended up becoming. Also too, I have not seen this in so long. It's been like almost a decade. So this is gonna be fun and maybe a little bit uncomfortable because again, it was my first acting job. So let's start the cringe. Here we go.
Stand up.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, just even seeing like the quality of the cameras they were using was slightly different, because even that's changed over the past 10 years. Hold on a second. That studio space is tiny. Like, remember when we were watching season 7 stuff and it was like a huge space, and this area here had those benches and like the cubbies were still there, but there was like another extra pole here or something. Like this was huge. So we actually shot season 1 in an old abandoned school. Like it was out of commission. It was not being used for many years, and they just bought the piece of land or rented the space or something. And then this is built in their gymnasium of that school. So like if you looked at the ceiling, you can almost kind of see here. The ceiling's not finished. It's open so that you can hang lights, and you could see like the ceiling of a gym, because we were in a gymnasium, in the school gym, and the gymnasium was particularly smaller than the studio that it's in now.
I became the owner of the Next Step Dance Studio because my mom was the previous owner.
I forgot her mom was the previous owner for a second there. Also too, yeah, this is the talking head I was talking about.
I mean, I grew up at the studio. It's my one true passion.
Right, and then it cuts right to Chris. So in this talking head here, it shows like Kate's big chunk of like dialogue, or like really the facts that she's supposed to like lay out to you, and then it jumps to Chris, and it says Chris talks about his position at the studio. He is head choreographer. He worked for Kate's mom, and now he works for Kate. He thinks Kate is doing a great job as studio owner.
And I pretty much oversee all the administrative work. And we'll make it.
Yeah, see, like that was an improv line, because technically, yes, he's like, there was all this other stuff that he could say, and like he's probably does touch on it later, but that wasn't scripted. So now you guys understand when I say that it's not like we were just given intentions. This is what I mean when I say that.
A lot of the elite dancers come here, and we're pretty well known for how amazing we are.
Did you see how little I was? I have like an image in my mind of like how tiny I was. And like, I'm not a big person, I'm a petite person, but seeing me there is just so jarring.
This is serious stuff.
Oh, now I have a sweater on. Oh my God, look at how tiny those little shorts are. That would not fit on my left thigh today.
H-Troop auditions.
Oh, Riley, so intense. Here's the thing, because this was a job, I always wanted to be so intense and take things so seriously, because that's who I was. I always took things so seriously at that age, because I was at a dance studio where like you have to show respect to your teacher and to your fellow dancers. You show up and you do the job, and you really take the corrections on, and you like try to apply yourself 110% always such high intensity. And so that's the kind of attitude I brought into the set. So even when I'm like acting, I'm like intense and serious, and like, you know, there's a rule book to follow, and I'm very like high strung and kind of anxiety ridden, and like that's kind of where Riley sort of started, was that version of Britt who is just really insecure and like wanted to get things perfect always, because that's how I was really raised.
There's J Troop, which is like junior troop.
No. Look at how skinny, he's so tiny. He's like a little tiny bean. What? It's so weird. Oh my God.
Gets you the most exposure, and I don't want to dance with B Troop.
See, no one wants to dance with B Troop from the beginning. It's always been this like elitist division. But again, they leaned into it, especially in season 1, because they wanted to have that sort of like class system, and the bullying aspect of it was a big issue that happens in real studios, like in real life, and they wanted to really replicate that. But Family Channel wasn't happy with the amount of bullying that was going on. They were worried that their audience, like the parents really, because the parents are the ones that are allowing the kids to watch the program. They were afraid that the parents were going to be too upset about the bullying.
There are scouts from all over the world. So being an A Troop means that you're going to be seen, and if you're going to be...
Excuse me, Daniel? What are those eyebrows? Look, he... For sure plucked them just a little bit too much. Oh my God, Brennan, look at how tiny he is. Also, his voice sounds like a pipsqueak.
Be seen, you're going to get a career in dance.
You're gonna get a career in dance.
This will be my 3rd year in it, and my 2nd year as dance captain, hopefully. So
This is another big thing. All that warming up thing, they didn't really tell us they were recording that, which I think was smart, because we were just sort of living and like doing what we would normally do before like an audition, which is like practicing turns and like doing like abs and like stretching and getting in the right headspace. Like all of that would exist in a normal like audition setting, whereas now it is very like staged because it's much more scripted, as shows normally like shows don't really know what they are when they're starting out, but this has much more of like an indie vibe to like the filming style, indie like documentary style. But now it feels much more like sitcom style, where like it's bathed in light and there's 3 camera setup for every single shot, and there's always like a line to hit, and there's always a rhythm of the scene, and it's the exact same rhythm every time you shoot it. Like it's much more like placed out, if that makes sense, which normal shows like that normally is what happens. But it's just interesting to see where the show started and how much it's adapted over the years.
Dolphin tail!
Dolphin tail! I completely forgot that even existed. That was something we didn't even know. It just said dolphin tail in the script, and we were like, what the f is this? And then Chris came in and like did it, and we're like, oh, it's like a hand thing. Okay, we thought it was like a dance move or something, if I remember correctly. Oh my god, that intro. My face. No. I literally went.
I love being part of the E-Girls. You're part of a family.
You're not part of a family, honey. It's a girl group. It's a girl gang. It's a mean girls group. Clique, if you will.
I'm so nervous. I'm so excited.
The E-Girls?
Yeah, like all of this like talking stuff was all just like us actually talking about it. Like being like, I'm kind of nervous. And they weren't like, sometimes they would never say action. They would just be like, oh, they're talking, start recording. Like behind her, like they wouldn't tell us. And so they would have these shots of us like doing stuff, just like being our natural selves in the environment. And then that's what they would use. And it comes across as so much more natural because we're actually just being ourselves.
That was kind of hard for me because everyone had started dancing at the Next Step 3 or 4 years before me.
Oh my god, he's so cute. And these stories too are all our real stories of how we started dancing, really.
But it's given me a really strong work ethic because I've had to work so hard to catch up to them.
I love how he says to catch up to them. He does like 70 pirouettes and then like lands perfectly in releve.
I think that would end my dance career because what chance is there of me becoming a professional dancer if I can't even make it into A Troop?
Wow, that was a pretty deep sentiment. He's like, I'm terrible. If I can't even make it into A Troop, then it's gonna end my dance career. That was a real reaction because he actually performed. Like this season is the season where we actually performed every single time, full out, no matter what, so that cameras because sometimes they would be on the dancer and then they would come and like film the reaction, and then so you're actually getting real reactions. It's not us reacting to nothing, which you can't tell the difference when it's all cut together, to be fair. But like it's just so interesting to me to see the differences. It's crazy.
Do you want to follow me dance? Riley is my baby sister.
That's really cute. That was something they kind of staged. Riley talks about how Emily can be a tough critic. Riley doesn't wish Emily's job as dance captain on anyone. What Emily does is hard. Being dance captain is thankless. Only because Emily is her sister does she know that. Emily doesn't show weakness very often. They look over to see another B Troop audition E-Girls, except for Riley, roll their eyes and snicker at her, which is why everyone loves Riley, because she doesn't want to like shit on anyone. Oh yeah, they just did it so differently. Like this script is completely different from what actually ended up being shown.
You know, I got into dance because of her. She was my inspiration. You know, sometimes she can be a little overprotective, but...
That is in my real sister's bedroom, obviously. And we were dancing to Spice Girls, as we always did.
At the end of the day, I love her to death, and...
Oh, Brittany, point your ankle. Come on, shoulders down. This was my second ever solo. It was called Material Girl, and it was jazz. My first solo was also jazz, and it was Miss Otis Regrets, was the name of the song. And then, I don't know what it's after this, but I know Material Girl was no, Betty Boop. That was my first solo.
She's my sister. I just love her. Beth, you're up first.
I also noticed that I had braces season 1, only on the top row, not on the bottom row yet. And I was really self-conscious of my teeth because I had gaps here. Like these teeth were pulled out to like, and like I had these like huge springs to keep the space open so that the adult teeth could come in because they were growing like this way. So I had to get the baby teeth pulled so that they could just come down on their own, but it took like a year before they even broke skin. So I had a gap, 2 gaps in my teeth for like a full year. I know I'm like Cry Me a River, it's fine. It was just, I'm an awkward teenager, so that happens. But it's documented, and I always hated showing my teeth. So I would talk with my mouth kind of like this, which is another reason why I come across as kind of awkward, because I was. But now, like, I smile all the time because my teeth are straight and they're all there. So it's just, I'm noticing that.
It's a very competitive group. We go to regionals and we go up against amazing studios who have not one dancer messing up. So, like, you can't have that.
Tell him, Brittany. Or sorry, Riley. You tell him. Also, that poof. I forgot about that little poof. I hated it. I hated it because it would never stay. So like sometimes they would have to spray it down so much, but I needed it to be out of my face whenever it was down. And then it's easy to just throw in a pony and then take down so that when they needed to go in between those 2 shots, they could really easily.
Yeah. Stand up.
So this solo that I'm performing here, which I'm so intense about with my face, I had practiced it in my basement. I had like choreographed it ahead of time because I was like, I want to be perfect. I want to be like amazing. And so I like choreographed it in my basement and practiced it probably 50 times, as I would in any dance routine. But it's just, I'm just remembering that, how passionate and like how hardworking I was.
Yeah.
Why am I looking down all the time? I'm like, because I was so insecure, so connecting to the audience and performing to the audience was like a huge vulnerability thing, or a vulnerability issue, like that I was afraid to do that and like not feel confident in myself. So in order to like just feel good, I would always just like keep my eye contact away. I'm noticing that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a little nervous on
And like even when I am looking to camera, I'm like
at any point my spot could be taken by somebody else.
Come on, everybody.
But you know what? I'm trying to be not critical of my past self. And it's really endearing because Riley works so hard and she is really passionate about dance and she's really intense about it, also because her sister is intense about it. And I think that she is someone who works really hard and who puts all the effort in because she knows that she can't fail. She can't fail the team because the team is the most important thing to her.
It's just gonna take some time for her to realize it, and that's okay. That's what love is all about.
That's the most like psychopath or like serial killer thing to ever say. She doesn't realize her love for me yet, but that's okay. It's what love is all about.
The auditions are in here, right?
The big moment. The auditions are in here, right? Also, Victoria was 13 when we filmed this. She does not look 13. She looks like 17 or 16.
Hi. Hi, Michelle.
Kate.
Hi, Michelle. Oh my gosh, she's such a baby.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Does anyone know who that is? And she doesn't look like she's a good dancer anyway, so might as well leave.
See, mean. And I kind of like it. I mean, obviously they wanted to like debunk that and like the next step be more about inclusivity and feeling positive, but like it does exist in studios, that mean energy. But I think they wanted it to be that the meanness is from outside of the studio. It's like this, the rival team or the enemy is mean.
But I have my A troupe planned out, and she's not gonna come here and ruin it for me.
You could tell I wasn't sure how to feel about it. Like, I wasn't sure what choice to make as an actor because I was just like, oh, what? Oh. Like making faces instead of just like being confused and like not having that read. That's another big thing. I was trying to express emotion rather than just sitting in a state, sitting in a place of like, we're auditioning and a new girl comes in. The scene's not about me, so I don't need to make it about me. I don't need to express anything. I can just sort of observe, take it in, and like still stand my ground as my character, if that makes sense. But again, things that I didn't really know at the time.
Anyone in the studio that threatens Emily, it's my job to protect her.
She's literally like, yo boss, you need me to take her out? It's like Emily's like the mob boss and we're all her like hitmen.
This one. I feel it's important to check as a new girl because
look at those brows. Oh, whoa, they're so skinny. Oh. I mean, it was very much early 2000s or like mid 2000s, which is when we shot this. No, it was like 2011 or 12? 2012 we shot this, so it was already coming out of fashion, but I was still committed to those thin-ass eyebrows. Damn.
I'm not happy that Michelle's auditioning for H Troop because that's just not how the studio works. You have to earn your way into H Troop. What's going on?
She's about to earn her way into A Troop. She's gonna audition and prove that she should be in A Troop. That's what everyone is doing in this studio.
Trying to show off to the girls to try and get their attention, and I'm not falling for it. Riley would.
Okay, Riley. You say what you want to say, but I know what's gonna happen with you too.
Never like a guy like that.
Ever. Right? Come on.
No.
Wow, Emily's like, you would never like a guy like that. He's disgusting. He's beneath us. E might as well stand for elitist.
I don't know who this Michelle girl is, but she's amazing.
Baby Brittany. I don't know who this Michelle girl is, but she's amazing. Oh my god, it's so weird. This is almost 10 years ago.
There were so many great dancers in the audition, and I don't know if I'm gonna be good enough to make it into H Troop.
Oh really, Michelle? You don't know if you're gonna be good enough? She's just so like baby doll doe-eyed. Look at that beautiful little puppy face. She's so cute.
Michelle?
Yeah.
I'm James.
James?
Your solo is unreal.
Okay, so fun fact. When we first got cast for the show, when we first auditioned for the show, sorry, the callbacks were really the majority of the original cast, but a couple characters were different, and we shot this pilot episode that's never aired anywhere. I don't even know where I would find it. And that episode, we filmed it to pitch to Family Channel to get it picked up. And in that version, they had James hit on Michelle. There was a scene where he was like, hey, like, let me take you out for smoothies or something like that. Let me show you around town. You're new around here. Like, let me show you around. And they wanted Michelle and James to have like a love thing. That was what it was gonna be. But then it just happened that Riley was sitting beside James at like the diner scene or whatever, in the pilot, not in the actual episode, but we happened to sit beside each other. And Frank, the creator of the show, was like talking us through the scenario of what was gonna happen and how Emily, who was really Logan Fabro at that time, who plays Amanda, but she was the original Emily in the pilot. And she was like upset that someone invited Michelle, and I invited Michelle, but I was like nervous and I didn't want to say it, and so James has my back in the scene. He's like, yeah, whatever, I'll take the fall for Riley, it's fine. And because of that moment, because he takes the fall for Riley, they were like, oh, they're the couple, James and Riley, and that's where it all began, which is kind of funny. Anyways, that's a little tidbit for you, but this is just reminding me of when he first hit on her in the pilot. How different would the show have been if it was Michelle and James together? And like breaking up and together and breaking up and together.
Except that she's a diva.
Are you crazy?
Do we want a diva on our team?
Wow, Riley's so cute. Wait, how could you, are you crazy? Like, yes. Oh, I love Riley. You guys are right, Riley's awesome. Yes, I'm biased, because it's me.
About Squeezed is just the social aspect. I mean, you go there to hang out with friends and to get in on all the good gossip.
Oh my god, Riley. I'm cringing because it's like watching yourself go through puberty, okay? It's not fun, but I can totally see why she's so endearing and cute and like awkward and just genuine, and she's like getting in on all the good gossip. Oh, look at how red my face is. Do you see what you guys are doing to me? I'm doing this for you people.
The one thing I do know is Emily's gonna be very upset with the decision.
Oh, because an e-girl doesn't make it. All right, final thoughts. The structure for season 1 in my reaction videos is gonna be different. It's gonna be more behind the scenes shots and like how we shot certain things, kind of like what I was just saying. I have all the scripts from all of season 1. I kept them all because it was my first job. That brought me back. Damn, it is crazy how far I have come and how much different this seems to me. Like, this was so foreign to me, this entire world of film and TV, being on set, it was so foreign to me. And so like watching it back now, it's like I'm so familiar with it. I remember exactly how we shot these things. It's so cool watching it, looking back on this. Okay, so what I want from you guys, which is, since this is all about nostalgia, this whole reaction series, comment down below, one, if you were a fan of The Next Step when it first aired. If not, then ignore my question. But if you were a fan of The Next Step when it first aired, what about the show, what about this first episode made you want to watch? What about it was like, oh, I loved the dancing, or I loved the relationship between the characters, I loved the e-girls, I loved Emily, I loved Michelle, whatever it was that kind of pulled you into the show and why you got so attached to it. This is crazy, guys. I still can't believe this was something that I got to do right out of high school. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. That's the day. Bye.